Welcome to the Salty Bulldog, the podcast that has claimed Aaron Norton as our crush of the week. I'm Matthew Donald, and I have Nick Galea sitting opposite me, as he does every week. Welcome, Nicholas.
Hello, Matt. I like it. I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
Norton going quite well, actually.
Very well.
I think it's what was it? 27 contested marks last year in 18 games. Third most for key defenders in the comp.
Most out of any first-year player.
Yep, that's about right. And he's taken 13 this year, I think.
13.
I think he's had 4 and 5 in the past couple. So that's 40 in his past. Well, in his short career,
First 22
40
games.
and 22 games, and I think it's 22 in his past 6 matches.
Jeez. That's good going, hey?
It's pretty ridiculous,
That's
actually.
contested marks.
You take 22 marks in 6 games as a midfielder, it's pretty solid, but he's taken those contested situations, specifically contested situations. That's ridiculous.
That is nuts. He's actually taken, hang on, what is it here? Let's get it up here. We should talk more about the game first before we talk about Norton. He's taken
2 mark of the week contenders.
He's taken 23 marks for the season.
Is that right?
So more than half of his marks have been contested.
I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
I don't know either. Is it?
Well, it says we can at least trust someone down the line.
Yeah.
What I don't like is that it means that as much as we're trying to play disposal football or ball retention, clearly means that we're not able to pinpoint targets and give him the chance to get hit up on his own. Maybe he himself is not creating the space, so I don't know.
We should talk more about Norton at the moment because I really want to talk a lot about him. We need to talk about the game firstly on the weekend. Let's not get too carried away. Until we play finals this year, it's our only Friday night match for the season against Collingwood. And leading at three-quarter time, actually had a very good third term. It's got away from us a bit in the last 5-10 minutes of the match. The Pies kicking 4 of the last 5 goals.
And that's where the 5-day break became a little bit telling.
And kicking 3 and 4 minutes.
Which is annoying, which is actually really annoying, to be honest.
One that got away, or fair result, or unfair result? What's your initial sort of thoughts about it? I thought it was one that got away, personally.
Yeah, I'm probably trying to side to that, but I do think that you're not going to win games of football when you kick 5 of your 9 goals in one quarter.
Well, we tend to do that a bit. We kick most of our goals in one quarter. We did it against Hawthorn.
Yes, but we generally should have got more than that.
We did it against the Suns. I think we kicked a bunch of goals in the last quarter. I think we kicked 4 in the last quarter, out of 9 for the match, and then 5 of 9 in the third quarter on the weekend. So we have those quarters where we go for it, and we kick half of our goals.
Hopefully we can make that
we just need to kick
10 goals a quarter.
Yeah, we just need to kick half of our goals in more quarters more often.
A 10-goal term and then 10 others for the match. I'll take 20 a game.
Yeah. That would be nice, wouldn't it? To kick more than 100 points in a match.
Back in the days of 2005, 6 and stuff.
2008.
And 2008,
We kicked 13 matches in a row. We kicked over 100 points.
I think the closest we've got to cracking over 2,200, and excluding 2015, it was we got to just under 2,200 in 2010. We got over 2,300 in 2009. We're about 2,400, maybe mid-24s in 2008.
I think more than 100.
Yeah.
I miss those days. I really miss those days.
Well, the fact that we could actually... Well, the positive thing is with us is that I think we're first to inside 50s this season. We've got probably, one of the larger differentials in that. Contested possessions were again leading around those marks and have probably the largest differential for there. I think it's about 28 on average. So clearly there's a few things that are working. Because I don't understand this particular image that I've found, but it's to do with
inside
who
50
we
count.
want the ball getting it inside 50. And I can't work it out actually because it's done differently.
Inside 50 count was the same. It was 52 apiece. Contested possessions, we lost it by 14 on the weekend.
Which is very rare for us. Very well.
So to still be in it with a few minutes to go,
Yeah,
I
it
think it
says
a bit about it. Does it say more about our ability to hang in there, or does it say more about Collingwood's inability to kill us off, or is it a bit of both?
I think it's more for us than less for them. Even though, in all seriousness, if with that particular dominance that they had through the ruck and these other things, and probably the caliber of their players, and even though our midfield is actually quite good, I expected the Pies to have been better. So that says how good our mids are, first of all, okay, to be able to keep us in it, and we're pretty much, I think, just about established. I think we played our best three mids for most of the match in the guts.
Bonampelli, McRae,
and Libba. And unfortunately, Libba was only able to get 3 clearances. Maybe that's due to just English not being able to do much in the hitouts, or maybe that's because he was well held, even though they didn't play a tag against us. I think Bond had about 6 or so.
He still had 25, Libba.
Yeah, but not the
So I
the
mean,
usual.
and
Still
7
handy
tackles.
Enough. Handy enough.
So
right?
I mean, that's a good game.
Yeah, he wasn't too bad, but
Yeah,
not to this.
Unlike
not for the past couple of games.
unlike that game against Hawthorn, when it was on the line, he was the one that was winning the clearances. One in particular that comes to mind.
Which was really annoying because.
But didn't do it on.
Not just him, but in the last term, they seemed to get genuinely clear clearances, didn't they? There weren't too many breakaways, and they were able to get those, and that's where they were able to get Mason Cox giving Mark one out, and all these other situations.
Well, he always sort of loomed. He'd had a very quiet game, and he only finished with 1 goal, but he probably set up at least 2 others in that last quarter, just by creating that contest, and we were able to keep it together for 3 quarters.
Yes, Cordy didn't do much wrong. He's undersized.
Heavily undersized, massively undersized. And I remember Beveridge saying we don't have a big key defender we could just put back down there on Mason Cox. And I tend to disagree because we had one on Friday night that we didn't use.
Or we had one in the 22 the week prior that we dropped.
Yeah. That was interesting. I do wonder about a lot about Beveridge and his tactics at times. When they work, the results are extraordinary. To be honest, when they don't work, they look a little foolish. And I don't want to be too critical of a man that's still over half of our premierships in our history ever of all time, but we went into that game thinking, well, we're heavily undersized here, and that's how it panned out ultimately. Because the two men that won it for Collingwood were Cox and Grundy.
Yeah, much to my disappointment, actually. I don't think exactly Grundy was a game breaker, even though he just dominated.
I think he was. The weight of hitouts told in same with Cox, and just the weight of opportunities he had just told in the end. And I think it's the same with Grundy. He had 58 hitouts.
He had the largest ever recorded hit-out percentage in an individual game, smashing the previous record by about 10%.
Well,
he won 88% of the
ruck contests.
Oh, and he accumulated 88% of the hitouts that day.
Well, there were 66 hitouts
there were 2
for the
draws
match.
Also. There were a couple of draws.
There were 66 hitouts for the match.
And he had 60.
He won 58.
Oh, 58.
But he had 17 hitouts to advantage. I think the record's 22 or something like that. But eventually some of those hitouts to advantage were going to fall Collingwood's way, because we did a very good job at sharking him for
which
most
we
of the
do.
match.
Which we do.
For 3.5 quarters, let's be honest. But you've got to do it. If you're going to do that, you've got to do it for 4 quarters. But this has always been the case with Beveridge, hasn't he? He hasn't put too much focus on the ruck stocks.
Not entirely.
Not in
different ways.
Different
ways. People do think he doesn't care about the ruck. He does care about the ruck. He just wants to have the right ruckman.
But I don't think.
And if we don't, then he'll throw it away.
And I don't think we have the midfield and the defensive combination that we did when he started.
If you're going to do that,
work with that.
I think if you're going to do that, if you're going to put a lamb to the slaughter, such as English did, you're going to need some genuine marking players down back to potentially be insurance for disaster plans or disaster situations, like those last 5-6 minutes.
Yeah.
And we do have one. We just need him elsewhere. Someone get a cloning device for the love of Christ, please.
I thought you were working on that.
I am. My mates are being a bit slack, unfortunately.
Just on English, before we talk about your fella in question, what do you rate his game? Because he had his moments, and you voiced your opinions about him. It's been a couple of days now, a few days since the match. You've had a bit more time to think about it. What did you think of his performance?
He gets around the ball, which is nice. I like what he can do. I still got plenty of time for him. And people were also thinking, like last Friday after the match, thinking, why didn't we go after Bruce? Oh my God, what the flying... What is it with people and a bloke? And sure, he had a good game the day before, Bruce, but he's what, 26-ish? And or something like that. I don't even know. He's relatively middle aged in terms of football terms, give or take. I might be wrong here, but he's nothing special. People rate him for his size.
He's 23.
23. I'm wrong, but he seems like he's been around forever, to be honest. Unless I'm thinking of who was that North Ruckman? The one that went to the Gold Coast. The one that's been around. The one that's had more years in the system than games played.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm about.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's a favourite Supercoach prospect on the bench for loopholes.
Danny Gorringe.
No,
Curry. That's
Gorringe was at Carlton.
Yeah, that's right.
Dan Curry.
Yeah. No, this is not Dan Curry. This is
Steph Curry.
I get. Well, he started.
He did start all right, but my idea is thinking. Well, I like the idea that we are fully invested in English, which is pleasing, because if we get hypothetically Bruce last year, well then you think to yourself, if you're English, what, don't these guys trust me? And then when you've got both players coming out of contract, you've taken on the sum and given up an asset for someone that you know is not long-term player.
Yeah, you're looking for more of a short-term fix.
And then
because in 5 years' time, who would you rather have, Bruce or English?
Yeah, and it's not just that then. And then you think about this thing. If you're trying to develop English, well, then you've got Bruce taken at the time. You've got Tringo sitting in the resis on a fair chunk of cash doing what exactly.
Yeah.
You've then got, well, that makes him redundant. Then you've got English trying to come on. Well, then what happens for Bruce? You know, what's his role then? Well, you just got a bloke for 2 years and he's like a 23, 24-year-old.
Yeah.
It defeats the purpose. You can use assets and cap space far better than that.
Yeah.
Sure, the ruck is a weakness now, but it won't be forever.
I thought English's third quarter was very good.
I do agree with
he's
that.
not going to monster ruckman yet, but he showed us in the third term what his strengths are, and that's covering the ground, and that's presenting himself as an option. He took that mark at half forward, which resulted in a goal for Dixon. So he took the mark and then he set up then he passed it off to Tory. I thought he competed really well, and that's what his strength is at this stage. It's about, and that's what Beveridge would want as well. He wants English to effectively play as a tall midfielder rather than a ruckman. A ruckman labours around and wins hit-outs. A ruckman is Will Minson. That was what Will Minson was. Will was never a big ball winner or had a super engine. He was a very good ruckman at the contest.
He's actually quite a neat kick, though, to be honest.
He's a good kick. So, he was all right in terms of going forward. But in terms of covering the ground, he wasn't very effective. English is...
And that's why he played two rucks then.
Yeah.
You and I have mentioned it plenty, even during the games. English, stop leaping early. What are you doing? That's the one thing that gets on our nerves at the moment.
His timing of his leap is way off. And I remember Jordan Roughheads was like that very early on in his career. He'd get so high up in the air, but there'd be no point. He'd be chasing a football that was leaving the earth faster than he could. Well, you're never going to get the ball if that's the case. And by the time the ball comes down at a height that, he would have been able to reach to if he had a timed his leap properly, he was on the ground while the other ruckman was in the air.
And the interesting thing is that English actually has an inch, maybe a little bit more, than Grundy to use.
And he kept letting Grundy get front position. I noticed that.
Yeah, that's due to the body size.
That happened a lot, but no, he would just concede it immediately.
Mm.
And I thought that was it almost looked like a set play.
Yes.
It's like, okay, well, don't even bother trying to win the hit out.
Then why pick English, then if that, I'm not saying that is, because you're not going to intentionally say, yep, that's all right, mate, you're a ruckman here, but we want you to lose the hitouts or do nothing. But then defeats the point and purpose of putting time into him. Then you might as well put in Trengo, one that can actually neutralise it. Me, I'm not one to say, let's give it away. If you can't win it, you neutralise it.
Perhaps the game plan was to let Grundy win it
Mm.
and shark
Maybe.
the hitouts. Well, because we did a very good job at sharking the hitouts.
We did, but that's mainly probably just due to the calibre of the mids, more than the idea of actually sharking. I tell you, it wouldn't matter. We'd win the clearances and stuff in most matches because our mids are pretty bloody good.
They're very good. The midfield hasn't changed much since 2016.
No, and
I can't think of
it won't change for about the next 5 years.
The only one that's really left is Picken. Everyone else is stuck around that I can think of.
Mm.
Unless I'm missing someone. Matthew Boyd was more of a defender in that time.
Transitioned out. But no, it's a midfield core that you know is going to stay the same. But it's not like another midfield team such as what the Hawks did. They knew that, yep, this core is not going to take us forward. Let's get the new gen in. Yeah. Something that Sydney has to do, which they are refusing to do.
Sydney are at the end of the road. Adelaide are at the end of the road with their current crop.
Yeah, they've had the same, I think I mentioned you last week, they've had the same core group for about 8-9 years now.
Yeah.
It's not getting them anywhere.
No.
Cooked.
They've played in a few finals. They had a chance to win a flag. They're hard to win, but you've got to win them, and it won't come around every year. So I think Adelaide's at the end of the road. But let's get back onto us. One guy, one tall, was so impressive. Aaron Norton took 2 Mark of the Year contenders in the same quarter. Was it 4 contested matches?
Only one was nominated, or only one was
nominated.
In the final
the official nomination. With Crozier. We'll get on to Crozier's mark in a second. That pack mark he took in the third term in front of the members over Roughhead, Moore, and someone else, probably English. Am I the only one that saw Chris Grant in that pack?
No, I had a look at it a little bit, not hugely, but traits a bit last year in terms of the actual idea of backing.
Chris Grant would take. He'd launch over the pack. Can you picture it? Picture it, Nicholas.
It's just a dream. No, it is good though to see.
Floating defender forward as well.
Well, I think
number 3 on the back, except Norton's just got 2.
Well, times it by 3.
Times by 11.
Nah. I think he's going to move to 9. Nah, no, he won't move to 9. I like that he's stuck with 33.
Well, he bucks the trend, doesn't it?
Because we had, everyone's gone.
Yeah, everyone's
moved. I like it.
Yep. Who was it? Was it Adams? It was Darley who had 33, then Adams had it, then Young had it, now Norton's got it. So we had 4 in 4 years.
Refreshing.
It looks good on him.
Did we actually mention, was it last week that we got to mention that he signed a 4-year deal, or did we not?
I don't think we got around
Whatever it is, he signed a 4-year deal.
He did sign a 4-year deal.
Even though you already know this.
Midway through last week. That's a big coup. You've been huge on this one.
Mm. And I think I mentioned others. There wasn't as much to worry about with him heading west.
No, I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about him being an established player and Hawthorn picking him up as a free agent.
What is it? 2nd-year player, 4 years, 6 years. So unless they decide to drop the free agency thing, which they probably will in the next year or two, to 6 years. Nah, I don't think so. I don't think we have to worry about the Hawks. They're not going to want to cough up. They don't cough up for players in terms of salary. So, depends what he's after.
He's an extraordinarily talented player, though, Aaron Norton.
Oh, happy to. I don't know what the deal is for us, what we've got other than the years.
What would you reckon, though? If you were to guess, what would you pay Aaron Norton at the moment?
Depends what club you are.
You're the Bulldogs.
If you're the Dogs, you want to maintain and keep him for a while, I'd be happily saying, here you go, here's 5. And there's a trigger.
Okay.
Plenty of triggers.
So I was going to ask, is that 500 you're paying him on talent or potential? I guess the 500 will be on talent. The triggers would be on potential.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fine. To be honest, I like it. And the positive thing is that it's still, a good 18 months or 15 months before he was due to come out of the contract. So, and he only took the 1-year extension too.
And you thought that was interesting.
I really did, and I didn't think it was not for the fact that he looks elsewhere. He's saying, I really do back myself for a good payday, and I'll tell you, it's paid off a little bit, hasn't it?
It has.
could have waited out at quite another year or so.
Yeah. I don't want to get carried away with Norton.
No,
It's very easy, especially with key position players, to get carried away with it.
but it's different when one's. Well, you can tell with certain key position players that have their, as we like to dub it, the it factor.
Yeah, it's not the X factor, but the it factor.
They have it,
The
or
X factor is for smaller players.
Mm,
The
yes.
it factor is for your keys.
Yes, we're going to think of an actual definition for the it. I believe.
The T factor.
Explain the
T for tall.
T factor. All right.
I mean, where does the term X factor come from? Why is it X factor, and not a C factor or F factor?
I'll take it up with the television shows,
or,
mate.
Or W factor.
Extraordinary. Maybe for that. It's extraordinary.
Not AFLX.
That's not extraordinary. No,
nothing extraordinary about AFLX.
No, we're happy with that. And we go to his potential future partner in crime when he goes down back again, which I do.
So you want him to go
I still
down back?
want him down back, only if it clicks up forward for what we're hoping for, anyways.
Well, I'm curious as to see what the stats are for us this season in terms of our goals and our.
I think
our
we've
scores.
converted 26% of our entries into goals, which is diabolical.
So Norton at the moment is joint first
In
goals.
with 6 or 7.
He's kicked 6. He's kicked 6-5, as has Billy Gowers, also 6-5. Lloyd, Dixon, Shackey have each kicked 5.
Oh, I forgot who it was. Someone, so the Champion Data or sort of Swamp thing. Someone on Twitter was able to post the actual accuracies. Maybe someone put it up in the forums, one of the Dogs forums.
Someone did actually.
Yeah. Yeah, that was actually good, and it does of course include.
And a
shots that
lot
don't
of
make the
people
distance.
seem to misinterpret.
Yeah, I don't think it's that
completely.
hard to misinterpret though, but people
No,
tend to
people
forget
were.
it.
So this is it.
You got it?
Norton, yeah, 6-5 at 50%. So that's 6 goals, 5 points, and 1 miss.
I wonder what it was though. Posty, because he hasn't kicked out in the full. I think he's kicked one. Has to be fallen short maybe. I think it would have fallen short the shot.
Possibly, yeah. Gowers 6-5 at 46. Shackey 5-3 at 56. Lloyd 5-4 at
And
50.
5'3" is generally 62. So clearly there's one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dixon 5-2 at 46.
But that's
He's had a couple falls short.
due to round 1.
Yeah. Bontempelli 1-7 at 8%.
Admittedly, there hasn't been as many howlers, I think, in terms of his goal kicking this year compared to last year. Last year there were actually some ones that, would tear your hair out.
This year, he's actually got close quite a couple of times,
He's hit the post a couple of times.
Yeah, he's grazed the
There was
post
that
and
one
he's
in the
almost
third term
grazed.
where he passed it to Shackey when he needed to take ownership and have the shot.
Yeah, that
I
was
think.
annoying. That was annoying. Nah. They
But-
cut it off.
For someone who's such a good player, and for someone who has had such a good start to the season, would expect him to go back and take that shot. So that was annoying.
I don't
that was
think-
frustrating to see.
I don't think we have much to worry about regarding Bond and his goal kicking, to be honest. I think once he nails a couple, he'll roll. It'll roll.
Certainly don't have anything to worry about everything else with his game. 36 possessions on the weekend.
Clear in the coaches' votes
Is he number 1, is he?
by 5 over Cripps.
But I thought Bontempelli was supposed to be overrated and that Cripps was supposed to be better. Well, that's what everyone has been telling me on social media. They couldn't be wrong, could they?
I'll take it.
The people on social media couldn't be wrong.
Well, then again, we do put this out on social media, so are we wrong?
Well, I don't know.
It's an absolute mystery, isn't it?
It is. Jeez, I
perplexing.
hope they're not wrong. Because then my whole life's a lie. How can Bontempelli be better than Cripps? That's impossible.
No, do you see those 5-metre hand passes compared to the 45-metre bullets that he gets through?
Well, look, let's not. Hey,
No, we'll
Cripps
find.
Cripps is a
I
good
know.
player.
We've
Cripps is a
taken
great player. Let's just
I know, we think he's
let's
a
not get too
fantastic
yeah.
player at what he does, but there's not much else.
Well,
There isn't much else.
I mean, I know a player's achievements shouldn't be dependent on a team's success. We say that all the time. Like, you look at all the players that have never won a premiership. There's some top players there. I mean, look, Chris Grant. already mentioned him. No premiership. And what a superstar he was. In fact, you could go through just about every great Bulldog player in the past 6 decades. Nathan Buckley never won a flag. Hasn't won a flag as a player or a coach. I think he was an assistant coach in 2010 at Collingwood. Robert Harvey never won a flag. It doesn't mean they're not great players.
Not at all. Just
Cripps has been a superb player in a struggling side.
which is tough as it is, to be
But
honest.
I think, and I would like to see, not to prove that he's a good player, I would like to see how he goes in a final, though.
Oh, I don't think that's an issue. I think it excels.
No, but
I think it excels.
Yeah,
regardless.
I think he would too, but I would still like to see him in a final. But I guess you say that with all the great players. You like to see Bonampelli in finals, Cripps in finals, Franklin, Gary Ablett in finals. Because that's when it really counts. You want to see them play their best football when it really matters.
Yeah, that's it.
And Bond's done that. So I think for anyone to label him overrated is extraordinary. And
Is that overrated that he made the All-Australian 40-man squad in 2017 when many people thought he had a down year?
he had 19 Brownlow votes.
He did,
too.
and I thought he was putrid for most of it.
Yeah.
For the most part of the season.
He had 20 in 2016, best and fairest in a premiership winning team. You cannot be overrated if you're winning the best and fairest in a
You
premiership side.
cannot be overrated if you were the clear favourite, favourite by your peers, by pretty much almost every player in the AFL as the best young prospect in your first season. Is the only player to be a recipient of every year eligible for the under 23s team of the season, and he's made it every season that he's been able to. So you can't be telling me anything about that.
You know what I reckon it is? I reckon it's jealousy. I really do believe that. Because do you reckon Collingwood supporters, and I guess you could say this with every club, but do you reckon Collingwood supporters would be calling him overrated if he was wearing black and white?
They're probably doing a lot of things.
Do you reckon Carlton supporters would be calling him overrated if he was... all right, well, look at this. If Cripps was wearing a Bulldogs jumper and Bonampelli was wearing a Carlton jumper, who'd be better then?
To be honest, Cripps will probably excel more with us because we've got the tools. We've got the tools.
Let's just think about it, though.
Yeah.
Let's just think about if it is now. Like you swap it completely.
Yeah, no,
around.
I'm trying to.
Yeah.
The hard part is then
you'd probably say Bonampelli's better.
yes, but it mitigates then with us with Cripps because we've got more inside mids, which means his output
I think
decreases.
You're looking at it a lot more tactically than I am.
Yeah, really, yeah, because his impact or his ball handling
I'm just
ability
saying,
will decrease.
just take Bonampelli's
Yeah.
Bulldog jumper off, put a Carlton jumper on.
Never want to do that.
I'm not saying
I don't
put him
want
in
to.
the midfield with Libber not Libber,
No.
but
I'd be
Sam
saying
Walsh and co.
they're just as important to each other. The difference is one player has been able to, and again, this is due to having several helping hands or being able to make others better. One's been able to turn a side into competent, and then he's up again to try and do that. The other one's been able to make one side bearable to watch at times.
Can he win the Brownlow? Bonampelli.
I think they both can. This year, I think they both can.
How many votes do you reckon Bonampelli's on out of 12?
What are we, 4 rounds? I think he's on at least. He's got.
He probably
the
gets.
bare minimum. He's on the bare minimum about 8, so he'd probably be on 10 in my books.
So you reckon 3 against Sydney,
Yep.
1 against Hawthorn,
Yep.
3 against Gold Coast, 3 against Collingwood.
Yep.
He definitely gets 3 against Gold Coast. I reckon he gets a few against Sydney. He gets at least 2, I reckon.
I think we're looking forward to.
He might only get 2 against Collingwood because we got beat.
Yeah,
I don't know if he gets any against Hawthorn.
Maybe not. But I do think we're looking forward to a good contest between the two of them this week. When we come up against the Blues. Touch wood that we actually do the job because the pressure's on them, and the pressure's just as much on us though. Still,
Pressure should be on us after what happened to Gold Coast. We should have won that game. We turned up thinking it would just happen. It didn't. Pressure's on both teams. Speaking of that match, who comes in? Any changes to be made?
I still want to try and throw the Pinsky in there, and I think we mentioned last week about.
Actually, you might have the VFL numbers. Would you
Alright,
care to?
You go on.
You
decide to?
keep talking for a couple of seconds.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, I don't think there were any injuries to come out of the AFL. Certainly there was.
Got like 4 people on the injury list. What is this?
Well, we've got Fergus is the latest one, who
Yeah.
had signed a new deal himself not all that long ago, new 1 year deal.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to be out for an extended period of time. They're not sure how long it will be at this stage.
No, but they did say 2 to 3 weeks in a moon boot, and we'll see.
Recess from there. So it's at least 2 to 3 weeks. I don't think he'll be coming
Oh,
back
it'll be.
straight after
It'll.
that.
I would probably be at least.
6.
Because I don't know. It's not a. Is it a fractured leg
Well,
or
I don't
what?
think they know what it is.
No, I just think it's to do with the ankle, not an actual leg.
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't think it's a. I don't think it's a leg issue. So he hasn't broken his leg. I heard Achilles at the time. I don't know if it's that though, because if it was an Achilles, then they'd know,
Yeah, that's true. You'd,
And-
you'd know pretty
and
quickly.
they'd say,
And
oh,
you'd hear a snap. You would hear a genuine snap. So
Yeah.
the VFL, we have once again our mate in Lucas Webb, 29 touches, 2 goals, 3, 20 kicks with the 9. With the 10. What have I got? 10 marks. No hit-outs, of course. So
What? Oh well, he's no.
refreshing with the likes of Tringove. We know he's actually put up some good performances, and I really would want to see him in. And I'm probably tempted to almost probably bring him in for Shaki.
That's a big call.
Just to give him a little kick up somewhere. Williams and Lipinski doing well. Brad Lynch, fantastic. I want to get him in ASAP, but for who? I really want to get him because he adds a proper point of difference. Our midfield, not just our midfield, the team is so slow, even excluding the way we move the ball.
It is very sluggish. Yeah, I'll admit that.
Yeah,
It's
no,
very,
I want
very
to throw him
pedestrian.
in. I want to get him in, probably after another week in the VFL just to see, but I hope to make a change for that.
But where does he play then? Because he seems to be kicking a few goals at VFL level.
Mm.
Not a lot, but he seems to be getting his 1 or 2 every week.
So yeah, Lynch with the 23 and 2, 16 kicks. A player that predominantly kicks the ball. Amazing.
Wow.
Bailey Williams, 16 kicks for the 24 touches. Amazing. Lipinski, another one that's actually backing it up quite well now. 24 with the 1 goal.
He
I
only
like
played
him.
he only played the 3
Played
quarters.
limited
Though. Yeah,
and restricted minutes. Another person that played restricted minutes was Tom Boyd.
this is a big one.
Yes, nothing too strenuous. He had more hit-outs than touches.
What?
5 to 4.
Ruckman can do that.
Yes,
Oh, but-
expected, but
But
5
that's
to
the
4.
problem. He's playing in the ruck.
We had 3 ruck options. Sweet, who's suspended for 3 weeks.
3 weeks, is it?
I don't mind that, unfortunately, in the wrong terms. Rourke Smith, I actually saw. I got to watch a bit of it on the Friday night before the game. He actually looks alright as a full. He actually looks half decent up there. He harasses quite well.
Yeah.
And another couple before that, Fergus Green with the 12 touches, 4 marks, 2 goals, 1.
He was looking good too. It hurts.
It does actually. It actually really is annoying because I told you last week I want to bring him in.
I wanted to bring him in too. Honestly, I did. There's probably 4 or 5 I want to bring into that team. Settle. Nick's not very happy.
Not at all.
I don't blame you. There's a
Oh.
few I want to bring in. I wanted to bring in Fergus. I wanted to bring in Lynch. I really always do like Ling Jong. He always seems to add something. He always
Again.
seems to play well. I think. I can't remember him having too many really, really bad games.
No. Query.
Query or question?
Both. Last year the club made the decision, and I think you brought this up. I might have been your father or uncle early in the year. And what do you recall the words this person mentioned about Mitch Wallace? How he saw him as a footballer, or has he come on the way you'd hope, or something like that?
Yes. I think it was something along the lines of he's not playing as well as what he should be playing.
Mm.
It was something along the lines of that, him not fulfilling his potential. Because I remember when he arrived, he was a big prospect. He was top 10, and we got him for pick 22. I reckon in terms of pick 22, we've got value out of that one. Certainly, we've got value out of the pick after for Libba.
Indeed. And we know last year there were some other clubs that were after him. And the Dogs made the decision that Wallace had to reinvent himself, by the sounds of it, to stay. at the kennel. And he did. He's a handy medium forward. Champion data, which is a pain at times, apparently rates him elite as a medium forward. And
he's not a bad player.
No.
He's probably a B plus player.
I got him as a B minus at the moment. Still leaves a lot to be desired at times, but we all like him, and we're very happy to have him. The query was last year we made the decision between him and Dalhouse, and obviously one is gone and one remains. Now I want to give you another prospect. Last year we threw Dunkley into the midfield and Wallace up forward. This year it is counterclockwise.
Yeah, we've got Wallace in the midfield and Dunkley up forward.
And again, I can't show you now. I want you to look at it afterwards. There's this table someone's devised up regarding delivery inside 50 and how likely they are to hit a target, what counts as hitting a target, what counts as a no result, what counts as a loss. Okay? And apparently, according to the table from other people reading it, is that Wallace is an absolute butcher when the ball goes forward. So you can see why we
tend to throw it on the boot a bit.
So you can see why we play him as a forward. And he's actually competent as a forward.
So why is he now playing as more of a midfielder?
And vice versa with Dunkley. And Dunkley we know can do those things. We know he's a good midfielder, but again, if he's not the extractor, which is what Libba's doing now, I'd much rather see McLean pushed up into the midfield. And he's having less numbers this year than last year. But he's just as good and maybe better at bringing the ball inside the 50.
Well,
according to this particular table, he's well and truly one of the peak Bulldogs at it.
This is McLean.
And
he's always been very good in the air, though, for his size.
He protects the space well, actually. Do you think we can play one of Wallace and Dunkley if we are to include more zip? Because both these players are slow, the way they move the ball in the mids, and etc., etc. They're both reasonable footballers. And
I think we can afford to have both of them in the side, but you've got to play them in the right spots. You've got to play Wallace as a forward, you've got to play Dunkley as an inside mid.
And then if they aren't able to do well in those right spots, then you...
Don't rob Peter to pay Paul in a sense.
So Norton goes back?
No, not in... Well, yeah. Actually, well, he should. Let's be honest. Norton should be playing at centre half back, not centre half forward.
But to be honest, he's a pretty competent.
He's very good at centre half forward, but he should be playing centre half back. But that's another discussion for another time. With Wallace and Dunkley, you don't sort of say, well, look, we won't. So I don't even know why they're doing that. You pick players in the team, play them to their strengths. I mean, you don't pick a ruckman to play a Rovers role.
Tim English.
And vice versa. You don't play a full forward, and you don't pick a full forward to play him on the wing.
Tim English again. He's done that. Shaky's done that.
And you don't pick a forward pocket to play in the ruck.
Bailey Williams. No, Lin Chong. Lin Chong's done that.
But that's if you want an inside mid where Wallace is playing at the moment, don't play Wallace there, because that's not really Wallace's go. Put Dunkley there.
And this is, I'm trying to figure out a way, because we're trying to focus more on a ball retention strategy, and because we lack speed, we need to have certain players in there, which is why I told you this, and I've mentioned it last week too. I really do fear for Wood, probably by the end of this season.
That one is interesting. He was... I think there aren't too many that are overly thrilled with that one on the forum, but
I don't want to do that.
No, you know what?
I really don't.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to see him go either. But apart from that game against Sydney, in hindsight, gives us the benefit of the luxury of knowing that Franklin himself is struggling a bit. They
should have not played. I told you the only reason why they played him is because
it was round one.
Because it's round one, but because they've actually got no legit forward threats.
Sam Reid.
Yeah, we showed him up, didn't we?
Tom McCartan didn't play.
No, he did not, but he's coming on all right, to be honest. But he's not a number 1 or 2.
No.
And Reid's not a footballer. But we'll see about that.
So in terms of, you don't drop him, obviously. Don't give me that look.
Well, goes back to last year's pre-season, where Beveridge might have been seeing some signs, and hence Easton We're going to make you a forward.
So you think that was it?
I think it's more thinking for that than more.
You think he was getting to the end of a road as a
I think
defender, and they wanted to keep him in the side, so they tried to reinvent him as a forward.
I think there's something to that.
Well, do you think that was a similar situation with Pickett? Did you think Beveridge saw his days as a tagger being limited, so they thought, well, let's try something different, and that worked? It's not going to work all the time.
No, but he had the nous for that too.
Yeah, then that's what I'm saying. Pickett was able to do that.
You could see it, just as I thought with the Boyd one, going to backline, I think like, that can work. You've got one player that's
A contested midfielder, but he's been in pressure situations. Give him the time and space to deliver the ball properly, and he's a good reader
of the play.
of
Yeah.
the play. Yeah, he'll do well, and he did.
Yep.
unsurprisingly.
And Pickett was the same. I mean, Pickett had always shown a bit of flair at times. I mean, some of the goals he'd kicked throughout his career, albeit not many, he'd kicked some pretty nice goals.
I can't forget the one he got against Freo in 2010.
Yeah,
I love that one. That
it's
was
not bad.
a great goal
Yeah.
on the what was it
Against Stephen
35
Hill.
out or such. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was beautiful.
So with Wood, you can't drop captain, surely.
Giving you that look again,
You are giving me that look again. Can you? Would you?
another week,
give
because
him
I want to
another
see
week?
Williams. I know I keep saying for everyone, but
Give English another week. You never said give Honeychurch another week.
I think I did at times. Not often, but I think I did at times. It's just for certain players, I want to have a more zippier side, and you can only do that. We're playing Richards in the wrong spot too.
We're going back to a bit of 2017. It sounds like throwing players around with a bit too much zest. I think we need to go back to what worked in 2018. That was Richards on a wing. That was Johannesson off a half-back sort of role. It was Wallace as a forward. Dunkley is an inside mid. Remember, Dunkley is an inside mid. He got best on ground against Geelong.
He actually rolled. He went nuts
He
in his
did.
last 8 games.
He did. He was very, very good, and he's
But-
fallen off the boil a bit since.
But our best forms come with Fergus Green. I'm not saying because of these two, but the ones that have that nous, that have that zip. Fergus Green, Brad Lynch,
Mm-hmm.
returning Bailey Williams. You know,
Is Bailey Williams fast, or does he just look fast?
I think he just looks fast, but I like him still.
Webb has a bit of leg
He-
speed as well.
Yes,
not the
he-
slowest player. I know.
but he's a quick kick. I want to have good kicks, as well as their proper footballers and other things, but they got to be willing to take it. Give me a few risky, risk takers like Bont, for instance. You're not always going to nail those things, but risk takers that are willing to bite off more they can chew at times than the safe option.
So what changes do we see this week then? Because I think this might be, unless you've got any fan questions. I haven't got any.
No, actually, we forgot all about that.
No, that's
No.
okay. So what changes, or is it more a case of tactical changes rather than personnel changes that you think we need to?
Maybe tactical,
Exact.
more tax. Yeah, I do want to bring in Trengove just as a backup defender,
Well, then
backup.
Who would go out then?
I mentioned Shaki, but we need to keep pressing with him.
Mm.
You need another forward at least for Norton. So that means that means Trengove can take not Mackay, not Kerno. If they play Casbolt, sure. If they don't, but we can run off Casbolt. I think he might be getting dropped anyways.
So who comes out for Tringo then?
This is the tricky part. I'll give you a message. I'll talk to you a bit later about that. But at the moment, we want players to come in, but we can't think of any to come out. And I do think Richards is on a fine line, which I don't want. Wood is on a fine line, which I don't want.
They're all players you don't
Yeah.
want to drop. There's no one really
No.
that you look at and you go, I mean, the only one I can see, and he actually didn't have a bad game on the weekend either, was Duray.
No, I'm content with him.
I tell you who had a very good game though, not dropping him Crozier. That was his best game for the club.
And he's made Wood's role redundant. Just
He,
interesting parts.
he was very good. How many one-on-ones did he stop? And he took Mark of the Year too.
He
Get
was-
on and vote for it.
What-
It's
yes,
Mark of the
vote
Year.
for him and Norton.
Vote for both of them if you can, but vote for Crozier. That's Mark of the Year. I don't care what they say about Harry Himmelberg. He's a Giants player. Of course the AFL want him to win Mark of the Year. I tell you, if Bontempelli didn't win Goal of the Year for that effort a few years ago, if he can't win Goal of the Year for that, then we're not going to get any of those awards ever.
Or the Rising Star.
Have we ever won a Mark of the Year award?
No, but I think we've got very close. I think we've got really, really
Matthew
close.
Robbins finished runner-up in 2005. That was ridiculous. That was Mark of the Year. Brad Johnson finished runner-up for goal of the year that year too. That was insane how he didn't get that. Nick's not happy.
Not at all.
14 years later, he's still bitter. I think
I am bitter.
Kingsley
We
Hunter
are
won.
salty, mate.
Kingsley Hunter won goal of the year in 2000.
I looked up his stats last week.
Kingsley Hunter.
Yes.
Was he any good?
Aaron James. Who else was there? We already know about Nathan Saunders. Who else? There was a couple more. Wiggins.
Christian Macri.
Trent Bartlett.
Trent Bartlett.
Trent Bartlett. That was another one I looked up.
Were these fellas any good?
Well,
Do you see Jimmy Plunkett? Andrew Wills. Andrew Wills is a ringer. Apparently.
we're not discriminating yet.
No, I'm not discriminating. I'm just telling you what I know,
Oh dear.
or what I believe.
Interesting. No, they gave it the coaches' votes. I think it was Bont with the 9.
Yep.
Grundy got the 8. Who got 5? Yeah, Tom Phillips got 5 for the Pies. Crozier got 4. Daniel and Dunkley with the 2s. Not Daniel and Dunkley, sorry. Daniel and Degoe with the 2s.
Did you just say got 4?
Crozier.
Yeah. So Bont 9, Grundy 8, Phillips 5, Crozier 4, Daniel DeGoey 2 each.
Yep.
We need, before we go, I want to make a special mention this week because I think it's justified. Your boy Bailey, first goal at AFL
Oh yes,
level.
bloody. Yeah,
Now
yes,
you
yes.
want to talk us, or you want to take us
no.
through this one? Surely, Nicholas,
I was
come
thinking,
on.
what in bejesus are you doing check signing that, mate? You're too good for this. No, that was a nice goal, and I was a bit. I didn't. According to the highlights package, they didn't show too many getting around him, but I'm sure a lot of the boys did. They just cut it off though on the highlights package.
Just got rid of Grundy.
Yes,
Said
yes. More
see you
times than
later.
English did that
Yeah.
night, unfortunately.
Check side with the outside of the boot. Good goal. He's had a decent start to the year, Bailey.
He's not one that we want to get dropped because he's actually done well, but he's one that you want to see others in for, and he's actually done a good job though.
He's been okay. He's been all right so far.
Yeah.
So far. Long way to go, but he's
But
been
we
okay.
can probably.
If this is the start, then there's a lot to get excited
Well,
about.
he was deemed the second best mid in the draft last year.
He comes up against Paddy. Not Paddy.
Sam
He comes up
Walsh.
against Sam Walsh, who got the rising
Who's
star.
actually a super
He's actually a jet. He's brilliant. So that's interesting to see how that goes. And you've got the Bont versus Cripps this week.
So Bont v Cripps, Walsh v McRae. Is that how we'll see it?
I was going to say Walsh v Smith.
Walsh v Smith. Well, I think
McRae
Walsh
versus.
Kernow.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I'd say Walsh is that good that he's almost Carlton's second best mid at the moment.
Yes, and that's actually a good thing for them, to be honest.
They needed help. Well, Cripps certainly did.
Mm-hmm.
But that better be it for another week. I think that was a good week again after a loss.
I didn't.
I think we
It wasn't a
wasn't a
bad
brilliant,
loss, just infuriating.
Yeah,
It wasn't horrendous.
but I think it's been a good episode. I think we've recovered well from it.
That'll do.
That will do. Nick, I want to thank you for joining us again. It's always a pleasure to have you come down and take time out of your busy schedule to join us.
Oh, God.
And wherever you are listening around the world to our viewers, listeners, however you're
Listening.
or viewing, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule for tuning in. And we look forward to having you join us again next week.